Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, evening. I'm in another time zone. I'm in Detroit. I'm at DeadCon right now. I have one more panel today, and I had some time. I didn't initially record this video back when I was doing my binge writing because I knew I would have some downtime here. So today's Saturday. I don't know the date. July 19th. This is for Leah. This is I believe it's my final Tortal and Other Lands short story. It's called Huntress. Oh my god, look how long my beard is. It's wild. Anyway, my dad left for good when I was 10. My mom kicked him out. Fine, he yelled. I've had it with you, your family, and all that screwy New Age goddess crap. I should have left years ago. Now watch, you'll turn my own daughter against me. She'll probably do that all on her own. He grabbed his bag and walked out. He didn't notice I was standing right there. Oh, I made a joke and now I'm sad. I should have said something. Instead, I stared at my however many great grandmother's portrait. It hung in front of where my dad had been standing. There was whatever grandma in Victorian clothes, laced and tight, with that crescent moon tiara on her head. He was so clueless he didn't even see Mom's family was into the goddess stuff back then, before anyone ever said New Age with capital letters. But that was my dad. After the divorce, he found a girlfriend. They got married and had a kid. Kevin was sweet, but I stopped visiting. They were always joking, asking if Mom and my aunt sacrificed any cat's lady, or did I brew up some potion to get a boyfriend. I told Dad it wasn't funny and then that he was boring my socks off. Finally, I just told him I couldn't visit because I had practice. He bought it, clueless, like I said. But when it came to Mom's family portraits and her religion, he wasn't the only one who thought it was just too weird. By the time I was in 6th grade, this has a very modern words in it. Modern words, modern concepts, 6th grade. Anyway, by the time I was in 6th grade, the friends I brought home were noticing the crescent tiaras and full moon pendants. They'd notice and they'd ask, and I'd try to explain. I'd make them nervous. Then the jokes and whispers began. In 7th grade, the witch stuff blended in with whispers that I was too weird, even stuck up, maybe a slut. I didn't even know where that had come from, but 6th grade had taught me I couldn't fight any of it. No, no. I acted like I couldn't hear, which is and I know how that is, and you try, but you can't hear it. And you can't. I would read for lunch in recess by myself in a corner of some room. I kept my head down. I didn't even try to make friends. I didn't see the point. Sooner or later, I would have to take them home. Then they'd see the portraits and the jewelry. They'd ask their questions. Back to square one. The only good thing was track. I'd found out I was good at it in grade school. Me too. Is this about me? Well, my mom wasn't into witch stuff. With a summer of practice and middle school coaches, no one on our team could catch me by the time the 7th grade spring meets rolled around. I came in second in the district in all my events but one, and that one I won. Winning was like a taste in my mouth. Everyone I raced against was a possible source of whispers, but I couldn't hear them if they ran behind. Stop it. No, I already love this so much. They'd have to catch me to make their words hurt. I'm an adult and I'm already ruined. In 8th grade, and I won all of my middle school events at the all district meet. A bunch of the high school coaches wanted me to come to their schools, but Mom had other plans. At the last meet of the year, she introduced me to the head coach from Christopher Academy. Christopher offered a full scholarship if I wanted it. Wanted it. Christopher was one of the top private schools in the city, with one of the top track teams in the country. If I did well there, I could write my college track ticket. Better, nobody in my school could afford it. Nobody. No, nobody else was getting a scholarship. My teammates didn't talk to me, but I heard everything. They would have told the world if they had gotten into Christopher Academy. It was out of their reach. Christopher kids were like Beverly. Okay, now I understand that this is actually set in our world because there's no Beverly Hills in Tortal. What if there is? Is there? Discuss. Write your fan fiction. Christopher kids were like Beverly Hills kids on television, clean and expensive gods and goddesses. Nobody at my school would dare to talk to them. There wouldn't be any whispers in those expensive hallways. When she saw I wanted this school and this chance, Mom went a little nuts. Over the summer, we moved from the old family apartment in the village, and my aunt wasn't Cynthia. I'm sorry, and my aunt Cynthia. I haven't read on video in ages. I feel like it's been years. Sorry, and wasn't my aunt Cynthia happy to move in when we left? To a squinched up little place on the Upper East Side. Mom took a second job tending bar at night to cover those expenses. The new apartment was near the school and near Central Park, where the Christopher's runners trained. I could practice with the team and not have to worry about taking the subway home after dark, Mom said, pulling her altar up in a corner of her tiny bedroom. I felt guilty. Mom and her sisters were true believers in the family religion. She wasn't happy with just a medallion, not even a proper hunt goddess figure, instead of the shrine in our own place, but This was only for 4 years, I told myself. Maybe the new place wasn't so much, but I could have friends and bring them over and only have to explain horseshoes over the doorways. Anyway, I wasn't a believer in the family goddess after middle school. If their goddess was so wonderful, why didn't she fix in my life? I'm sorry, why didn't she fix my life? She protected maidens, right? Wasn't I a maiden? My dad was right about that much. The worship was screwy. After all that, ninth grade still wasn't exactly a popularity explosion. It was made clear to me that while I had a scholarship to run, ninth graders did not show up to the upperclassmen. They trained and they waited for their turn, their chance. They ran with the team. If I heard it once during those first weeks, I heard it a dozen times. I belonged to the Christopher team, the Christopher tradition, the Christopher way of doing things. I warmed a bench and kept my mouth shut. That's how it is. I did track and cross country too. And there was another problem. Things had changed. I had changed. It wasn't easy for me to make friends since I'd stopped trying years ago. I still waited for whispers to begin, though months passed without them. It was like I thought the gossip was weeds that would sprout when my back was turned. I did make two ninth-grade friends from the track team. We had lunch together, walked home together, sat together on the way to meets. We ran when Coach told us to. We cheered the upperclassmen and held down a leg on the relay team. We raced other ninth graders from other private schools, and we envied the older runners. Seniors weren't that interesting. Their eyes were locked on the Ivy Leagues. They didn't draw our attention the way a certain junior did. Felix soaked up light in the halls and gave it off again, from his bronze and gold gelled hair to his tanned calves. He was so right, so perfect, that no one ever gave him a hard time for the long single braid he wore just behind one ear. People gave him tokens to wear in it, beads or ribbons or chains, but he didn't just take anything. Just because he accepted someone's token one day didn't mean that he wouldn't give it back to them the next. He wrote his own rules for the school, too. Staff let him do it most of the time, maybe because the auditorium had his last name over the doorway. Wait, what? It was listed 5 times on the brass plaque that announced the different heads of the school. Felix was what Christopher Academy was about, and his crowd was Christopher Academy, just like track was Christopher Academy. He ran, but he didn't care about it. He'd slide out of boys' warm-up laps to come over and flirt with his sophomore and junior girls, or his lionesses, as he called them. The first time I heard him say it, in April of my ninth grade year, he said it to our coach as we circled the baseball diamond, in our section of the park, our feet thudding on wet dirt. "What do you think of my lionesses, coach?" he called, keeping pace with his girlfriends in the middle of the pack. "Let them take to the Serengeti, get some blood on them, show them how to hunt." He fiddled with a strip of camouflage cloth that was wound into his braid, running a finger over a dark spot on it. "Ew, Felix," cried Han, a Chinese girl who'd been lip-locked with him before practice. "Blood? No thanks." "Can't break oaths sworn in blood, sweetness," he told her, falling back as we ran by. "Isn't that right, Corey?" he asked, slapping me on the arm. He knew who I was. He called me by my last name like I was any other member of the team, any other rich Christopher kid. I forgot to be careful. I forgot that I was new, that I had to be one of the team and earn my place. Trying to outrun the blush that burned my cheeks, I sped up. I cut through his precious lionesses as they jeered at him, telling him he scared me. I stretched my legs until I caught up to the senior girls. They glanced over, saw me, and glared. "Back of the pack, freshman," one of them grumbled. I'm so glad that my cross country and track team, we definitely were at a point where if you're better, you're just better. There was still class division, but for the most part we were kind of like, we just want to win, and we did a lot. So I stopped being sensible. It was only practice. "Afraid you'll have to work for it?" I asked, and picked up my pace. They weren't really trying. It was a warm-up run. My cheeks burning now because they thought first place would be handed to them. I skittered behind the seniors, looking for a way through their bunched-up group. When they closed in tighter, I powered around them in the turn. By the time it dawned on them that they ought to show me who was boss, they couldn't catch me. Stupid, I told myself, slowing after I thudded past the finish. My temper burned off. Stupid when you want friends, stupid when you don't want to stand out, stupid when you're with the team. Across the field, the boys were hooting at the runners. I turned around to see the lionesses, juniors and sophomores together, cut through and around the red-faced seniors. Red-headed Reed looked back at the seniors and yelled, "You snooze, you lose." Coach glared at me, then walked toward the seniors, clapping her hands. "You thought it was going to be easy, these final meets of the year," she yelled to the seniors as the lionesses caught up with me. "You'd catch a break because it's your last year in the high school leagues? Nobody cares. Younger girls are waiting to make their names, and they'll kick your asses. 2 more laps before you quit for the day." "Showing them, Corey," Reed said, tugging my braid. "You rock," another one muttered. The lionesses collected me after practice. I looked at my 2 friends, but they shook their heads and grinned. They wanted me to go so I could tell them what it was like in the morning. The way the lionesses acted, it was no big deal. Drinks and french fries at a diner on Madison Avenue. A sour-faced waitress watching as 6 of us jammed into a corner booth. Why don't you split up, she wanted to know, make it easier on everybody. The older girls fell silent, staring at her. The air went funny. The waitress looked at them, then threw down the menus and left. The minute her back was turned, they began to laugh and nudge each other. Shut her up, Reed said. Like that dealer, another muttered. Only he ran. Beauvais? I've never seen that name before. Beauvais, a platinum bond whispered. Reed elbowed Beauvais hard. She elbowed back, but didn't say anything more as the waitress, a different waitress, came for our order. I don't even remember if I talked very much, but I was there with the kids. Everyone looked at. And the guys showed up, even Felix. I learned then that the guys were lions to match the lionesses. Felix called them his pride and said casually, "You should see them hunt." Half of me wanted to stay, but half knew I was supposed to be home 15 minutes ago. I had to run to be there when Aunt Lucy, who watched me while Mom worked, put dinner on her table. I expected to ring me, but my aunt was so happy I'd been with kids my age, she didn't even yell. I pretended I didn't see her light a moon candle in thanks while I cleared the table. I guess I wasn't the only one who thought I was going to be a hermit all through high school. Why? After supper, we went for a walk. We talked with the neighbors for a while outside the building. I was playing with the baby of the couple downstairs, so I don't know how it started, but I heard the old guy who lived across the street say, "Just a dealer, so excuse me if I don't cry." Oh no. Was it an overdose? Asked the baby's mom. The old guy shook his head. Cops say people were chasing him late night after dark, and he grabbed his chest and fell into the lake near the ramble. Heart attack. A drug dealer having a heart attack. Good riddance, said the baby's father. But how could anybody see to chase him? It was a full moon, Aunt Lucy said. Or Aunt Lucy and I said at the same time. She smiled at me and said jinx, because we had echoed each other. She looked at the other grown-ups. Plenty of light for a chase. Like, well, oh my god. Wait, what? Is this really happening? I shivered. The baby's mom saw and collected her from me. It's getting cold, she said. I didn't argue, though I didn't think I had shivered because I was cold. No, I think she's realizing it too. When I got to school in the morning, my life had definitely improved. Suddenly, my two friends and I had more company at lunch. They liked that. I did too. I didn't exactly like it when, at the next meet, Coach pulled me out to run with the juniors and seniors. You started this, you finish it, Corey, she muttered as she changed my place in the lineup. So I ran the way I did alone and made the two best runners sweat to beat me. The Pride thought it was cool. They cheered for me at meets. At the all-district competitions, when I had the 100-meter and the 300-meter events, Felix gave me an ornament from his braid to wear, a little golden sun. I came in second in the 100, first in the 300. He wouldn't take his sun back. He kissed me and told me to wear it instead. I told myself he kissed all the girls. Then I went out and got a top-of-the-ear piercing done just for that earring. Once it was there, I looked at myself in the mirror and let myself dream about him. That night, after the last practice, I was on my way home when I saw one of the neighborhood watch people taking down the sketch of a rapist who had been working the Upper East Side. This one, with his spiky eyebrow piercing, had given me the shivers for weeks. What happened? I asked her. I was going home to an empty apartment. Aunt Lucy had finally convinced Mom a girl who was almost 16 didn't need a babysitter, so I was being lazy about getting there. They caught him? They caught him, the woman said, with a grim smile, like she had been there. The cops got an anonymous tip. He was at the bottom of Bethesda Terrace with a broken leg and a broken arm. I winced. That was a long, hard marble stair around the big fountain in Central Park. She told me, Bastard said he was out for a run and he tripped. They found his rape kit under him, complete with souvenirs. He said a gang chased him. Is this like vigilante track stars? Is this what's happening here? Good for them, that's what I say. She waved the flyer she'd already collected to me. One down, plenty more to go. I went out home, shaking my head. Whoever heard of a gang that chased somebody until they fell and then ran away? And who tipped off the cops? How did they know who he was? I told the Pride about the rapist at lunch the next day. Cool gang, said Felix, laughing. He had a new addition to his braid that day, a spiky bar that could have been for an eyebrow piercing. It captures criminals. A superhero gang. Maybe I can join. Do they wear cool jackets? We all cracked up. Maybe they called themselves the Pride, but I thought of bandanas and leather jackets and box cutters and lowrider cars when I thought gang. These were trust fund babies. They were a world away from the ugly street and the gangs and the projects like the ones I knew. They were strong young animals dressed in light and fresh air, not dirt and blood. Hey, maybe it was us. We hang in the park when school's out, black-haired Jeffrey said, tossing a rolled-up napkin from hand to hand. Sure, it could have been us, except I'd probably just give a rapist my dad's card. He's always telling me even slime deserves a defense, right? Ugh. Beauvais shoved him, like your dad would defend a rapist. One with money, Hans said with a laugh. I smelled mint as Felix leaned back and whispered in my ear, Sometimes we hang out after dark. What the hell? Okay, let me make another video and keep reading.